Yes, hello, good morning, YouTube. I want to welcome you this morning. My name is I am Patrick Justice on YouTube, and it's a pleasure to have met you this morning. Depending on where you're watching me from, please consider subscribing, like, share. And today I'm going to introduce you to my third lesson with my class, the Level 5 Education and Training. And today we'll be looking at the topic on stakeholder, okay, and how it impacts on our education and training, okay. So please come along with me and indulge and kindly watch and follow. Make some comment if you will. Thank you very much. All right, class. So today we'll be looking at the impact of stakeholders and external bodies on education and training. Okay? Is that clear enough?
Yes.
Before we continue this lesson, I want to, take a mind, back to reviewing what we did last week. Last week's lesson was on professionalism. So I have these 3 questions I'd like you to answer, just to reiterate as a starter activity for you on what we have done. So as you can see, take about 6 minutes to answer those questions. You can write them in your notes, and I will come around and have a look at it and see. Okay, so the questions are here. Who is a professional in education and training? Who is a professional in education and training? Me. Yeah. Instead of saying me, describe it. Make some statement. Yeah. All right. If you understand who is a professional in education and training, just write what you think it is. And then also number 2, what are some fundamental skills and behaviors important for success in the professional career? All right. What sort of fundamental skills and behaviors do you think are important? Okay, for a professional. All right. And number 3, explain the importance of ethical conduct. Okay, explain the importance of ethical conduct in any professional setting. Okay. I'll come around and have a look at what you're doing. So you can come with me. So what are you getting on?
Yes, sir. I just
Okay.
find out what the...
Okay. How you getting on? What about yourself? How you getting on? Okay. All right. Mohammed, how you getting on?
No, I'm just start the question first, actually.
Okay. All right. I'll just give you guys about another 5 minutes. Yeah. So Maria, who do you think is a professional? You said me. Can you describe that? For example, yourself, you're going to be a teacher. So,
Yeah, but I'm not calling myself
yeah, so you're going to be like a trainee, okay? So 45. You look it up, convert it to the language, and then find out what it is. Yeah. Just ask a question and then convert it. Yeah?
So this is the... Just want to show you. In the trainer, professional trainer,
Yeah.
is a teacher. This is the right answer?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Cool. Can you bring it down over here?
Yeah. The teacher who works in a comparative setting,
Yeah.
greater than
That's right.
providing.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. We're good for that. So how you getting on here? You okay? person with a lot of character and who knows what professional needs and how to develop others. Yeah, is that very correct? Yeah. And that's what a teacher does.
Yes.
Teacher trains you so that and gives you values so that you can, so it's anybody who is trained in a particular trade, okay,
Yes.
with they get a living from it, all right,
Yeah.
and they impact knowledge, okay, probably a teacher in college, okay, would be a professional, all right, so that's quite good.
This is a
Yeah, no, is that?
professional
Yes.
education.
Okay, so have you searched for it? Yeah. Not image.
No image.
Yeah, read that. Yeah. So it's a consistent good behavior, okay, that teachers and others exhibit in their practice of education. Education. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Okay. So try the next one.
Okay. Okay, what is the next one? Oh, that one.
All right, I'm going to give you the answers now. So I'd like you to compare this answer with what you have written. Okay. So compare your answers with the person next to you. Compare your answers. Okay. If you like. Okay.
Teacher, trainer,
So-
develop professional, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So who is a professional in education and training?
Teaching and professional.
So teachers and trainers are
Yeah.
dual professionals. They are both subject and or vocational specialists and experts in teaching and learning. They are committed to maintaining and developing the expertise in both aspects of their role to ensure the best outcome for their learners. Okay? Is that clear enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put this up in the Padlet wall later so you can have access to it, okay? Number two, what are some fundamental skills and behaviors important for success in a professional career? And these are just some, I call them,
Communication, problem
actually,
solving.
fundamental skills and behavior, I call them employability skills. What do you need to have to be able to comfortably work in an environment? Okay, so if you look at it, things like critical thinking, ability to think critically, adaptability, okay, ability to, to adapt to change, okay, where you find yourself to transfer one's knowledge from one to the other, okay, emotional intelligence, being able to understand people and their emotions, be able to be sensitive to other people's plight and acting, positively otherwise. Ability to work in a team, you all believe team working, ability to be confident where you find yourself. So as a professional, you should be confident. You should be, you should be creativity, ability to be imaginative, okay, to innovate, to bring in good ideas, problem solving. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it could be mathematical, it could be simple problems, general problems, finding solutions, analyzing and trying to find out possible solutions. Yeah, and decision making, among others. decision making, ability to make decisions. If you work in the team, respect of others in the team. Yeah, there's quite a lot of interpersonal skills, ability to be friendly and likable. All of these are different type of, I call them employability skills or transferable skills. So they are referred to as fundamental skills and behavior that is expected of us, of any human being in a workforce, or in fact, generally in the society. Okay? And number 3, explain the importance of ethical conduct in any professional setting. What is ethics? Ethical, something that is ethical.
Ethic.
So it's a kind of value, isn't it? Okay, a kind of value, one's own value and societal norms that needs to be respected and with and kind of upheld. So we can say here, adhering to ethical standards and professional conduct, okay, minimizes the risk of legal violation, okay, protects individual and organizations' interest, and uphold compliance with law and regulations. So in society, we expect everybody, professionals and alike, to have values, respect the law, understand what sort of standards that are acceptable and not acceptable, know what is good and what is bad, and to strive to behave positively all the time. Okay? So that is issues of values. We can call that ethical behavior. Somebody who behaves as expected in society, correctly, as expected. Okay? Is that clear enough? So this kind of, reiterates our last lesson. Okay? Is that clear enough? Do you have any questions on this? So this will lead us into today's lesson. Today's lesson, the intent or the aim is to identify and explain the term stakeholder and the impact of accountability and external bodies on education and training. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to understand the impact of accountability and external bodies on education and training. You'll be able to identify a range of stakeholders and impact of education and why it is important to work in partnership. And lastly, you'll be able to analyze the impact of being accountable to stakeholders. Okay? Is that clear enough, guys?
Yeah.
So therefore, what do you understand by the term stakeholder? What does it mean to you, stakeholder? Yeah, stakeholder.
What is the question?
Yeah.
What does the term stakeholder mean? Stakeholder is like,
Who's a stakeholder in education and training?
it's like
Or generally?
some staff can be stakeholder as well.
Yeah.
People from local can be stakeholder.
Yes. Let's put it into perspective.
Mm.
The word stakeholder simply means, okay, as you can see over there, individuals, groups, people that have some sort of interest. So it can be internal, it can be external.
Yeah,
Okay.
both sides. It could be.
Yeah,
both
people, groups, individuals, organizations that have some sort of influence or have a say within a particular context.
It could be government,
Yeah, that's right. Government,
customer, employees,
that's right. You got it? Yes.
investor,
Yes.
supplier.
Supply. Good. All these are the elements within organizations and they play a role. Yes, you're quite right. Okay, so if you look at the definition here, okay, the term refers to any individual, group, organizations, or entities. Entity is anything in the real world that has some values we might want to keep, okay, that has a vested interest or concern in a particular activity, project, or organization. A stakeholder can directly or indirectly affect the actions, decisions, or outcomes.
Excuse me.
Okay, depending on the context. They often have specific expectations. So in education, the stakeholder will be those people who kind of have an interest in the education. Who are we educating? We're educating persons. This is just like you and I. I'm educating you. I'm also learning. Call it teaching and learning. So we are always learning. So we are stakeholders. So learners are stakeholders. If you have students in your class, the parents are stakeholders. The college itself is a stakeholder. Your manager is a stakeholder. The awarding body that offers qualifications. Yeah, the government that lays down certain rules. They also have they're all stakeholders. Student finance, your government. Yeah. Other NGOs, quite a variety of groups. So long as they have some indirectly or directly some sort of interest or relationship with an organization, they're said to be stakeholders. Okay. So let's look at this spider web that I have here. So I call this a mind map. As you can see here, stakeholders in education and training vary depending on the context and level that you're looking at. All right, so if you look at here, we have about 5 or 6 different stakeholders here. As you can see, we have government bodies, community and non-profit organizations. We have educational institutions. We have students and parents. We have industry and employers. We have here educational bodies and accreditation agencies. So these are just some of the
community of non-profit
organizations. Yeah, like NGOs.
Like NGOs, isn't it?
Yeah, NGOs. Yeah. So these are just some of the organizations or persons that might have some interest. Might you think about, with the person next to you, can you take 10 minutes and discuss any of this? So you can start from, let's say, from government bodies. So the 2 of you can look at government bodies. Then the other 2 of you can look at educational institutions. And you guys here can look at students and parents. And you guys there can look at, the 2 of you there next to each other can look at industry. Okay? So look at those 2, discuss among yourself, write down points, what you think, what will be their influence. How do they impact on education and training? Okay? These stakeholders, as you can see here, how do they impact on education and training? Okay?
We are talking stakeholder. We can look over there. Government.
Who took the government bodies? No. We do.
Yeah. Or rather, you can choose anyone actually, anyone that suits your style. Okay? Look it up, make some discussions, comments, okay, make some notes, and then we can share what you have, okay? Once you've done that, in 10 minutes, you can snowball into 4 of you, and you can also snowball into 4 of you, and then we have a whole class as we progress, okay? So that way we can snowball, from the pair of you.
So question is, stakeholder in education and training, yeah?
Look at the impact. Find out what is the impact of either of these stakeholders. What sort of influence do they have with respect to education and training? For example, you can look at this one here, students and parents. What does students want from the college, from a training center or university? What does the parents of the students expect from the education? Yeah? So think about that.
So you understand?
You can look at awarding bodies here, educational bodies,
We do
accreditation.
education bodies, the government bodies, yeah.
This one, education. So who are the judges in education? Sorry? Direct.
You want me? All right, what's it?
Student and privilege. Should I give it this?
Impact in education. Impact in education. Yeah, in the UK. So read that. What does it say? What role does everybody play there? That's the answer. What was your
So, just because of, law rules, yeah.
I don't know.
Rules is called 7 o'clock. What is rules?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it.
Different stakeholder relations and trading, such as government bodies,
Who's the
education,
stakeholder educational interview?
educational institution.
Who's that?
Answer who are stakeholder education. No,
The question is, take any of those, just
over there.
write,
Yeah.
what are parents and students are stakeholders in
Student and
education?
parents.
Yeah. So students and parents are stakeholders in education.
Teachers.
Yeah, students and parents are stakeholders in education. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you the,
Why?
so
Wider.
I'm going to give you an answer now. Let's look at what we have, compare what you have now with this. So there's quite a lot of information here, but I want you to, this is available on the parallel wall, okay? So if you go on the parallel wall, you can find it out.
Yeah.
Just the 6 different stakeholders,
Yeah.
okay? We have government bodies there.
Government bodies, education institutions.
So Department of Education and Ministry of Education, Education Board and Commission, okay? So with Department of Education responsible for setting educational policies and curriculum standards and allocation of funds. So they would have an interest in what is happening in education. So Minister of Education oversees educational systems, set regulations and monitor compliance. Education bodies and commissions responsible for accreditation, assessment, and quality assurance. Okay, just like this course here, the awarding body will be interested. They will have external verifiers who would come in and verify. All right, so educational institutions like schools, colleges, universities responsible for delivering education and training programs. All right, Board of Trustees in education and training, governing bodies, faculty and staff. The staff and faculty deliver the curriculum, assess students, contribute to institutional development. So they are also stakeholders, and this is their impact. All right. We also have students and parents. Students, for example, yourselves here as trainee teachers, you're a student in this case, and you would be interested. You're a beneficiary of this training, and students will have have stake in the quality, accessibility, and relevance of the program. Parents, your parents probably, if you were in schools, obviously you guys are adults, with andragogy, but in a pedagogic environment, parents will invest in their children, okay, or in their words. So they will advocate the quality of education. They will seek accountability of the college or the institution, okay, or the university. Industry and employers also have a role to play, because sometimes, they offer apprenticeship. They also dictate sometimes how what sort of courses universities should should have in their curriculum. So they have an impact on the curriculum. What should be offered? Sometimes you have internship, okay? You have apprenticeship. All this, the industry and the employers will have some sort of stake in there, because they're all part and parcel of the understanding and the content of what needs to be taught. Here we have professional bodies, okay, that you have to belong to. Ethical within professional bodies are looked upon. For example, I belong to, I'm a member of the British Computer Society, MBCS, so, and also the IFL. All of these are the, departments, organizations that are professional bodies. The nurses, the doctors, all these are professionals, and they all have bodies that, professional bodies that oversee what they do, okay, give them accreditation, and can also, struck them off, if they, by way of reprimanding, if the need be. Community and NGOs can also have influence, because sometimes they do donations, and so they will, they offer money to organizations and colleges, and so they want to know how these support funds are being handled. Okay, so they have some equity in there, all right, and they need to see how the organization is or the college or university is promoting the education there, how they're engaging with students. Foundations and philanthropic organizations, funds, education initiatives, research, and advocacy effort. All of these are part and parcel of stakeholders having some sort of direct impact on education. Okay, guys? So next we look at the impact of accountability and external bodies on education. So we're looking at quality assurance, compliance, and transparency. So you can see what is involved in accountability. So quality assurance, external bodies set standards, conduct assessment, and ensure quality of education and training programs are ongoing. The compliance that awarding bodies or rather the colleges are adhering to regulations set by external bodies. Okay, especially the accreditation and the awarding body, and that there's transparency. Okay, that there's a mechanism for them to be able to see through the process of education in that organization how finance is managed. Okay, what sort of outcomes the students' achievement. Okay, and program effectiveness, how the programs that are offered in that organization are doing, in that college or university, how they're doing. Yeah? And you have some more. So also, another impact is to do with continuous improvement. They want to see year-on-year improvement, isn't it? Just like in business, they want to see year-on-year improvement. Similarly, in education and training, we expect that there will be a measure, okay, for checking improvement, the quality, meeting of quality standards. Stakeholder engagement, collaborating and engaging among stakeholders, including government agencies, and all of those other stakeholders that I mentioned earlier on. How are they engaging? Okay, how is the expectations, compared? Okay, in one way or the other, in different contexts. Equity and access. External oversight helps ensure equitable access to education and training for all students, regardless of their socio-economic status or background. So, on the overall, you could say that accountability and the involvement of external bodies play a crucial role in promoting the effectiveness, equity, and relevance of education and training system. Yeah? Is that clear enough?
Yes.
Have you got any questions?
No.
Questions on this? Can move on to next. Now let's try and analyze the impact of being accountable to stakeholders. So how might we as teachers, training providers, colleges, universities, how might we be accountable to our stakeholders? You know who the stakeholders are? So looking at how might we. So as a teacher, how might you be accountable to your students, to start with? Because your students is a stakeholder. Their parents are stakeholders. If we look at just these two, the students require you to teach them well, mark their work in the given policy time, maybe 10 working days, give them feedback, be fair when you're marking their work, offer them advices, support them, mentor them. Yeah? Sometimes you play the role of a counselor, counsel them, refer them to a counselor under other issues, minimum core issues like safeguarding. Make sure that you refer them to the safeguarding officer of the organization. Yeah, so there's a lot of expectations from one stakeholder. The most important stakeholder in education is your students, your learners, right? And also your organization, your manager, the head of department, your colleagues will require that you do your bit. That's why we have timetables. You're responsible to your own timetable. I'm responsible to my own timetable. That's what I'm teaching you right now. Okay? And that there is a meeting, there's standardization going on. Everybody in the team is working well. All because we're accountable to the students. accountable to our managers, accountable to the parents of our students, accountable to the awarding body, who would send an SV, external quality assurance person, to come and oversee what we're doing here, to make sure that our internal quality assurance is within their expectations. Yeah. So the external body will also, they will put in the EQA, the external quality assurance, who will write reports. What about Ofsted? In primary schools and secondary schools, we talk about Ofsted. It's a government arm that is also a stakeholder that makes sure that the schools are, working within certain noted or known factors in order to assess them as being outstanding, good, or needs improvement. So that, and all they're doing here is trying to maintain a year-on-year improvement in education and training. Yeah. So these are examples of how we need to be accountable to our stakeholders. Direct stakeholders, some are indirect, some are direct. All right? Is that clear enough?
Yes.
Can you think about any other way in which we might, impact on our accountability to our stakeholders as teachers? Can you think of one way? All right. We need to be transparent. We need to have trust, and that's why, parents will send their students to a particular school, because they have trust and transparency, quality improvement, enhanced performance, resource allocation and efficiency. Lastly but not least is the governance, responsible governance, that the college is being managed properly, the finances, and that they're not, in deficit, and that people are happy. Why do you send your students, at home? Why do you send your kids to different schools? Why do you choose the schools you send your kids? Why don't you send them to the one next to you? Why do you have to go further afield or send them to a particular school? Because maybe the school is popular. Maybe the school is it's popular in terms of academics, in terms of governance, in terms of achievement of the students, in terms of transparency. Yeah. So there are various types of elements that you could use to analyze the school before you make decisions as to which one to send your kids, for example. Yeah. All right. Many of you came onto this course by student finance. So government and student finance is a stakeholder. And so your attendance needs to be up. Otherwise you're not going to get money. Otherwise they're not going to pay next year or next term. So these are stakeholders. How are you accountable to them? You need to make sure that you are keeping up to your own side of the bargain, so that they can continue to serve you. So that is referred to as being accountable to the stakeholder. Okay? Government is a stakeholder as well. If you don't, if you have bad reports from the college, then it's going to affect your finance. That's just to bring it home. Okay? So there's quite a lot of different ways in which we are accountable to various stakeholders in education and training. Okay? Is that clear enough, guys? Okay, let's look at these questions. Before we close, I'd like you to look at these questions. There are 15 questions here. Take the first 5. The rest you can use as homework. But before we close the class, it's almost time. Almost time. So let's look at the first 5 questions, and again, team up with the answers.
Later, sir. Just info you have to.
Sorry?
The tendency you have about.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah. All right. Okay. So yes, guys. Question. Question one, who are stakeholders?
Who are stakeholder? Yes.
Yeah. So again, in your group, in pairs, answer those 5 questions, okay? As you sit, person next to you on the tables, on the chairs, think about those 5 questions and answer them. I'll come round and have a look at what you're doing, and then you can have the rest as takeaway homework, all right? You can look up at some point. So you can start now, all right? You have 10 minutes.
This rule may be affected by having yeah. So yeah, this is the number 1 question answer.
Yeah. What is it?
Investor, employees,
Yeah.
customers.
Stakeholders, yeah. Good. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, that's good. What about you? Yes. What does it say? Yeah, in business, yeah, that's good. Can you do a search? Sometimes it's best to do, this is generic. When I say who are stakeholders, that's very generic. Look up, try and answer the question, who are stakeholders in education and training? That will bring it closer to our context. Who are stakeholders in education and training? All right. Just name 2 name 2 or 3. Are you not? No, inside. Yeah.
I can say.
No. Right. Find out stakeholder in education and training. Yeah. First one. Let me make this bold a bit, okay? I'll make it bold in the next slide. Okay?
Yeah, not.
Is it bigger now?
But
All right. So this is better. And like I was saying, we could change the first one. Okay. Or rather, for everything that you're doing here, make sure that it is geared in education and training. All right? In education and training.
is that complete question?
Yeah, I said who are stakeholders in education and training? So tailor it straight onto education and training, all right? What distinguishes internal stakeholders from external stakeholders? Give an example of an internal stakeholder, an example of an external stakeholder, and what are the difference between primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders. All right?
Okay. Stakeholder in education include anyone with an interest in the education system success. Yeah.
He doesn't. So they're very important as well. So don't think that they're low, they're too low in the. So that's a very important person. Even the cook, the canteen. Why you don't eat? Don't hungry. You know? So, okay, so those are examples of internal stakeholders.
Yeah, international farming, nice one.
Yeah.
People were interested in a company.
Yeah, within the organization, yeah. All right. And when you look at education, then think about it in the college, the teachers.
Direct relationship.
You know, sometimes in education you have other support workers, like note takers. Okay, they are equally stakeholders in there. So you are the teacher, and then you have a support worker who may be there to support some of the learners that may have some learning difficulties. Don't forget the cleaner. The cleaner is also an internal, very important person. Without the toilets being clean or the tables and the rooms clean, probably there'll be dust all over the place. So they are equally very important. Okay?
Like example here,
Yeah.
cleaner.
Yeah, that's right. The cleaners are very important. So also is the cook, the canteen. If they're not important, then you'll be able to eat. When you go on break, there's nothing there for you. So they are equally very important stakeholders, internal stakeholders, okay? And of course, external could be, like we mentioned before, like government and all that we mentioned, isn't it? Yeah.
Now I'm giving you example of an external stakeholder.
Yeah. Give me two. Name two.
External stakeholder.
Okay? That's good.
Internal, external. So the person who organization in the success of the idea of the project, business, or organization parties not directly.
Okay,
Yeah, I think Mr. Patrick, this is it's not bad, right? Is the external stakeholder.
For example, give example.
Give it, yeah.
Give number 4. Give example.
Okay. Four.
So give example of an external. Just mention what it is. So an example would be the government.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Our body.
Driving body government.
Yeah.
Or
NGOs.
okay.
So all these are, all these are external bodies. All these are bodies, okay.
That's right.
And then number 5. What's after number 5?
Yeah, number 5. Yeah, fine.
What is the difference between primary and the secondary stakeholders? Found it?
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Primary stakeholder.
Let's have a look. Number 5. Yeah, primary stakeholder are these who have directly interest in your organization. Secondary, do you think the right answer?
Okay. So number 5, what is the difference between primary stakeholder and secondary stakeholder? It's just a deceit. It's just, another way of this, a deceit question. You're familiar with direct and indirect, isn't it? So we said that stakeholders may directly affect your organization or indirectly affect it, right? So in other words, primary stakeholders are those stakeholders that have direct impact or influence in your organization, okay?
So primary is your direct.
Yes. And then the secondary is the indirect that might have some interest, okay? So that's what it is. All right? All clear enough? All right, let's break. Is it break time? Let's, hold on, let me just, what I'll do is I want to give you model answer. Go. So this is a typical example. So these are model answers to that question. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
There are the real player.
Is it gone? It's gone.
all right. So these are the model answers to those 5 questions I just gave you now. So you may want to take a screen grab, but I will have this in a parallel wall anyway after the lesson, okay? So you can always go there and have a look at it, okay? And download it if you like, okay? So does it meet your answers? Okay?
Question 1. So is it already there in Pathway Wall?
In parallel wall, yeah. So you happy with this?
Yeah.
All right, have you got any questions? Because we're going to close now. We have only about 4 minutes left. Right, guys, thank you very much. I'd like to thank you very much for your participation this morning. I hope you have done well today, and I'll catch up with you at some point, okay? See you then at about 12 o'clock, okay? After the break. Take care now. Bye, guys. Bye. So, guys, I'll take this opportunity to thank you one more time for participating in my lesson this hour. My name is I am Patrick Justice on YouTube. Please consider subscribing, like, make some comment, if you will. And I appreciate all the time you spent, in this lesson. Okay, and I'll catch up with you at some point again. Thank you very much, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay.